Good evening, everyone. Severe Weather Team 9 meteorologist Nathan Shutt here for this edition of Nate at 8. Of course, we tracked those thunderstorms moving across our area this evening, primarily just dealing with some heavy downpours within those thunderstorms, some gusty winds, but nothing to the extent of where we saw any damaging winds, large hail, or any tornadoes here at Eastern Ohio. The Northern Panhandle did have, will likely be some reports of tornadoes further east of us. Nothing confirmed yet. So the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh will likely conduct some storm surveys tomorrow, but seeing some video evidence coming in this evening of some possible tornadoes further east of us, again, Western PA, but nothing here locally. We did have that tornado watch in effect. It was in effect all the way to 8 o'clock, but canceled well short of that. That severe threat ended even for the latter part of this afternoon. And now the good news is, and we're going to be discussing that for this edition of Nate at 8, is that the severe threat is over. So the severe threat has come to an end. At this point, we're not anticipating any severe thunderstorms tonight or for tomorrow. Now, that being said, we are still tracking more rain. In fact, quite a bit of it falling overnight as well as tomorrow. The good news is with that is a lot of it stays light. So the overall flooding threat looks low tonight, tomorrow, despite dealing with a lot of rain during that stretch, just thanks to a lot of it remaining on the lighter side. Still can have some pockets of heavier rain. We're still dealing with that this evening, but in general, a lot of the rain that falls tonight, tomorrow is lighter. And with the rain that we're having tomorrow, a lot of cloud cover. It's dreary, it's wet, and it is cool, especially for this time of the year. In fact, so cool that likely some records in terms of how cold those high temperatures will be tomorrow afternoon. So some record temperatures in terms of those temperatures that we see tomorrow afternoon, with those highs remaining into the 50s. So that's a bit of what we're going to be talking about. And we'll first dive into those temperatures right now, which dropped off with that rain falling through the area this afternoon, falling into the 50s for some locations now. We'll still drop for most locations close to 10 degrees. That'll take us closer to that 50-degree mark by tomorrow morning. You notice those thunderstorms again pushed off to our east, even going into this evening. Now what's in the wake of it is more showers moving back in. And they're still more scattered at this point, but they're going to start to pick up in coverage likely here as we extend into the first half of tonight. So we will be dealing with, again, the overnight hours as well as tomorrow, just some occasional showers. And I would be surprised if it's even more of a steady rain at times. So radar estimated rainfall the last 6 hours, you could see that where we dealt with some of those thunderstorms and heavy downpours, radar estimated rainfall amounts even upwards of an inch. And we saw the most here locally occur in Columbiana County, into the northeastern portion of Columbiana County. That's where radar estimated rainfall totals even closer to about 2+ inches of rain, maybe a little bit more than that in some spots. So that did prompt a flash flood warning into the northeastern portion of Columbiana County. That was the one warning we had. No severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings for us, but we did have a flash flood warning for the northeastern portion of Columbiana County. So that potential there for flash flooding coming to fruition into our area and into Western PA as well. Did have a flash flood warning in effect for a portion of Allegheny County. So we did see some flash flood warnings in the tri-state area, some tornado warnings, but again, those were out of our area further east of us. And we did have a severe thunderstorm warning that was in west of us, that was west of our area, that was issued earlier it was early afternoon is when that was issued. But again, at this point, we're not going to be tracking severe weather, just a lot of showers, as you can see. As radar's filling in as we look back further towards our west, we'll deal with more occasional showers. And again, at times, even more of a steady rain. But notice what we were discussing, that the intensity of this is generally light, right? There's some pockets of heavy rain in the mix, but a lot of what we're seeing return tonight and tomorrow is on the lighter side. So while, yes, we're dealing with rain for a lot of this tonight, tomorrow, that we're going to be dealing with the intensity here, likely on the lighter side, coming our way. So good news there. We're dealing with a lot of rain, but thankfully, with the intensity being lower, that the flooding risk looks to stay low as well during this time period. So we jump into Futurecast. It's illustrating this as we go through the night, as well as into tomorrow, just those occasional showers to a steady rain at times. It's not until we really get towards the end of the day tomorrow that a lot of this will be tapering off. So still could have some lingering showers early Thursday night, but you notice the drop in the coverage likely at this point, and especially for the latter part of Thursday night is when we'll likely be dry drying up, as those temperatures then will fall into the 40s, back to some chilly values going into Friday morning. And then as we extend throughout the day Friday, we can have some showers return, but it's much more hit or miss with respect to Thursday. Overall, Friday's much drier with respect to Thursday, but we can still have a few of these widely scattered showers in place for the end of the work week. And then by Friday night, those will come to an end. And then for this weekend, we do look to start off the weekend mainly dry. And I think a lot of the weekend we do stay dry as well. I still can't rule out a passing shower during that stretch from Saturday into Memorial Day on Monday. So for the extended holiday weekend, passing showers possible. But I think overall, it's mostly dry. I still think there's plenty of dry times to be had for any outdoor plans. Obviously, not the best temperature-wise for maybe being by the pool, unfortunately, but just in general for anything you have planned outdoors, maybe doing some grilling. And I think the overall weather is going to cooperate. I think it's mostly dry during that stretch from Saturday to Monday, and a passing shower is not too impactful, I don't think, for any outdoor plans you have going through from Saturday through Monday. Joe, good evening to you. Good evening, Shanna. Thank you both for tuning in, joining us this evening on Facebook. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. Also joining us on YouTube as well. Evening. How was your day? It was good. Day was a very eventful today, especially for our neighbors just east of us in Western PA, dealing with what was likely at least a tornado. We're getting some video evidence coming in. Maybe once the National Weather Service office in Pittsburgh will conduct their storm surveys, maybe ending up even more than one. But yeah, certainly to our east it was dealing with some, again, flash flooding to our east as well as into Columbiana County. So it's certainly eventful in that way. But yeah, just in general, what a lot of us saw, some gusty winds, some heavy downpours. That was certainly what we saw going throughout the course of this afternoon and evening. How foggy are we going to have tomorrow morning? Probably nothing too dense to have tomorrow morning. We could end up with some fog, but with a lot of cloud cover in place, we could deal with some fog and some rain tomorrow morning, but should avoid anything real widespread or dense for the morning commute. Shelly says, rain, go away. Yeah, I agree with you. Rain, go away. That's what, especially we're going to be saying that, I think, after tomorrow, because it's less than ideal less than ideal what we have coming our way for tomorrow. Now, rainfall amounts, as we do look ahead during the stretch from tonight tomorrow, it does not look excessive. It does not look excessive. Now, we still could have some locally higher amounts. We can have some pockets of heavier rain, but I really don't think we're dealing with much of anything that's going to be being a flood concern. I think most of us that we're going to stay light enough to where we're between a quarter, maybe up to about 3/4 of an inch. But a lot of us can stay even between 1/4 and 1/2 of an inch. So, and again, that's our total from tonight through tomorrow. And yes, we're dealing with rain a lot of that stretch, but thankfully a lot of that rain is on the lighter side. So not piling up a whole lot in terms of rainfall totals during that stretch. I think most of us 1/4 to 1/2 inch, maybe some of us 3/4 of an inch. So thankfully those flooding concerns are low for us. And again, not anticipating a severe threat during this stretch as we do extend through tomorrow. Well, we'll be seeing tomorrow afternoon. Again, it's wet. It's dreary. It's one of those just cold, damp, dreary. I'm trying to think, what are all the bad words to describe tomorrow? It's not pretty. It's not pretty. And like I mentioned, we can have some record cold. So what do I mean by record cold for tomorrow? Well, we're talking about the coldest high temperatures. So the coldest high temperature on record for tomorrow for the Wheeling area was set in 2008, and that's when that high only reached 61 degrees. But we're likely nowhere even near that. We're likely holding even towards the mid 50s for a forecasted high tomorrow afternoon. So we're surpassing that record likely by quite a bit tomorrow afternoon, and we're going to be setting up likely for the coldest high temperature on record for May 22nd for the Wheeling area. We'll likely be breaking that record tomorrow afternoon. Those temperatures drop to near 50 tomorrow morning and only likely climb a handful of degrees. So it's going to remain cool all day long. And really with that rain, it's on the chilly side with that rain as well. And a bit of a breeze. So that's another thing. You're going to have a bit of a breeze. You're going to have the rain. I think some of us may even say tomorrow's chilly. I don't think that's an exaggeration. Some may say there's certainly a chill to the air with that breeze and with the rain in effect as well. I think, we could say almost a little chill to the air tomorrow with the rain, those wind gusts up to about 25 miles per hour. So a little bit of a breeze, and those highs only in the mid lower 50s throughout the day. That's the extent of our temperature range from the morning going through the afternoon. So certainly be prepared for not pleasant conditions Thursday, but after we get past that, we'll start to spot maybe a little bit of sunshine Friday, still not a whole lot. By the time we get into the weekend, then as we'll spot more of that sun breaking out. And again, Friday will be, I would say, what some consider an improvement with respect to Thursday, right? Not as wet, a little bit of sun can return. Those temperatures a little warmer, but still a cool day. And we'll deal with a few of those showers that can linger throughout Friday. Still quite a bit of cloud cover. But by the time we get into the weekend, we'll notice more clearing in our skies. It's back to more of a mix of sun and clouds, and our temperatures will then start to climb up at that point. Now, it's still on the cool side, or at least for the first half of next week, before temperatures then can start to climb back up later next week. And it does look to coincide with right at the end of the month, the beginning of June, is when temperatures get back to more seasonable values and even climb back above normal. So we can see a warmer stretch of weather return for the start of June. So the warmer temperatures are in sight, but here near term, for a lot of the remainder of this month, it is unseasonably cool. And certainly the next 2 days will be the highlight of the real cool days. And then temperatures climb back 60s this weekend, hover around 70 then early on next week. And once we start to see those showers move out of the area for the latter part of next week and a little more sunshine return, those temperatures then can resume a warming trend further into the 70s. Are cool and rainy springtimes becoming a trend? John is asking. It's a good question. It's certainly been wet here as of recent for our springtimes. Of course, remember how historically wet it was last year that we had, especially for the month of April. We dealt with flooding for the Ohio River for 2 weeks in a row there in early April. So certainly last year was a very wet springtime. And it was unseasonably warm, though. If you remember last year, we dealt with a lot of warm temperatures for last year, including last spring. But an interesting question, John, something we'd have to dive into with our statistics and look at to see if there's a trend of cool and rainy spring times coming or becoming a trend. I got, Siasis says, I got to watch a crazy rain shower on my porch that came in waves and caused a small stream in the streets. Talking about just those heavy downpours, Austin, recalling that we had in those thunderstorms. Absolutely. Lola saying weather was tense earlier. I'm glad it's moving on. Cool temperatures, unusual, more sun, please. Yeah. Unseasonably cool temperatures ahead. Weather was a little intense. It certainly has to those heavy downpours, some gusty winds. Thankfully for us, really avoiding the worst of the weather, you could say, for today. That's staying further out of our area, but certainly still some heavy downpours with those thunderstorms and some gusty winds as they move through. And that is real heavy downpours at this point. Likely it will start to subside again. We'll still got to have some pockets of heavier rain. That can't be ruled out, but a lot of what we see at this point overnight as well as tomorrow is lighter to moderate rain, right? No real heavy downpours for the most part. A lot of it's lighter. So that's the reason why, thankfully, despite dealing with rain occasionally tonight and tomorrow, that, we're not piling up inches of rain despite dealing with the rain occasionally during that stretch. So certainly good news there to keep our flooding risk low going into Thursday. And by Friday, again, we'll start to trend drier and then mostly dry, I would say, for the Memorial Day weekend. So that's weather cooperating in that way that we're getting this rain falling here near term. And then we'll be looking for some drier conditions by the weekend. Now, I will say some of you may be suffering from the allergies this time of the year, and those allergen levels start to really ramp up this time of the year. This is one of the nice things about the rain, that it helps lower those allergen levels. And in fact, dealing with some low levels today as well as tomorrow. And then with the drier weather, they'll pick back up. Will be moderate to high then in that range by this weekend. So that is, you could say, the silver lining of the dreary, wet, chilly Thursday is that at least the allergen levels are low. As I know a lot of us, we start to have those stubborn allergies this time of the year. It is the season for the pollen, that's for sure. I don't know about you, but you can even see it. I don't know if you've seen it, but you can even see it on your vehicles, can't you? Like cakes onto it. There's so much pollen this time of the year. So that is the silver lining, at least there, that tomorrow less than ideal, but at least the allergen levels are looking low for Thursday before they start to pick back up by this weekend. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. I hope you had a wonderful day. I hope you have a good day tomorrow. Again, unfortunately, just be prepared for one of those dreary damp, if not wet, cool, almost chilly days, bit of a breeze in place. But once we get past tomorrow, the weather looking brighter, drier by the time we get into the weekend, and a little warmer as well. So there's certainly what many will say, I think, some better conditions on the way by the time we get into the weekend. All right, everyone, thanks so much for tuning in. You can catch me coming up News 9 at 10 on Fox 9, News 9 tonight at 11. And of course, we'll be right back here tomorrow evening for that next edition of Nate at 8. Until then, have a great night, and I'll see you on that next edition of Nate at 8.